Okay, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking what is honestly a massive leap forward for developer workflows. We're looking at Claude Code version 2.1.172. Now, if you've been following the evolution of AI-assisted development, you already know the race is all about moving away from basic, glorified autocomplete and moving towards genuine, autonomous project management. And this specific update, it's a huge step towards exactly that. We're talking about a brand new superpower feature that fundamentally changes how work gets delegated, and it's paired with a totally rock-solid foundation of stability fixes. Here is our quick roadmap for the explainer. 1. Meet Claude Code 2.1.172. 2. The sub-agent hierarchy. 3. Infrastructure and observability. 4. Crucial bug fixes. 5. Performance boosts. And 6. Master Claude Code. Section 1. Meet Claude Code 2.1.172.
So, just as a super quick refresher, Claude Code is Anthropic's agentic coding tool. We all know this isn't just a chatbot window where you copy and paste snippets back and forth. It's an agentic tool. It lives right there in your environment, it runs tasks, it writes and reviews code, and most importantly, it coordinates multiple AI agents working in parallel. Now, version 2.1.172 is what we call a feature and fix release. It delivers one massive new capability alongside a seriously huge list of stability and quality of life improvements.
Section 2. The sub-agent hierarchy.
All right, this is the absolute crown jewel of this update, the number 5. You know how in previous versions, Claude Code had that pretty cool feature where it could dispatch subagents to handle parallel tasks? Great feature, but it was definitely limited. Well, with version 2.1.172, those subagents can now dispatch their own subagents, up to 5 levels deep. I mean, think of this like a really sophisticated corporate management hierarchy. You've got your top-level agent acting as the project manager. It looks at a massive problem, breaks it down into distinct pieces, and hands those pieces off to its direct subagents, basically acting like team leads. Then, those team leads can look at their assigned chunk, realize it's still way too complex, and delegate further down to junior dev agents. And that just cascades down, 5 whole levels. It's a total paradigm shift. We're going from the old way, which was just flat, parallel tasks, to this new 5-level deep cascade of delegation. So why does this matter to you? It means you can finally execute highly complex, multi-step automated workflows without sitting there manually wiring everything together step by step. You just set the high-level goal, and the system organically builds out the necessary hierarchy to actually solve it. It's literal autonomous project management in action.
Section 3. Infrastructure and observability.
Of course, with that kind of sprawling power, you kind of need proper management, right? So we have 3 major quality of life updates here that translate back-end tech directly into developer benefits. First up, if you use Claude Code through Amazon Bedrock, you don't need to manually set the AWS_region environment variable anymore. The tool just reads it right out of your .aws config files, using the exact same rules as the AWS SDK. Plus, the status command tells you exactly where it pulled the region from, which is an absolute lifesaver for debugging in complex team environments. Second, the plugin marketplace browser finally has a search bar. If your team uses a ton of plugins, you can just filter instantly instead of mindlessly scrolling. And third, for the DevOps folks tuning in, the OpenTelemetry metric for counting lines of code now includes a model attribute. That means your OTel dashboards can break down exactly which specific model generated which code outputs. It's pure observability gold.
Section 4. Crucial bug fixes. Now, new features are really only as good as the stable environment they run in. We all know the pain of wrestling with buggy developer tools, so let's fire through some of these resolved frustrations. First, background agent isolation. Previously, if an agent was dispatched onto a pre-warmed worker, it would occasionally read project settings, things like trust flags or approvals, from the completely wrong directory. Actually, that was a huge pain, but it's completely fixed. Agents now strictly see their own project settings. Next, the model picker. There were these annoying issues where available model restrictions weren't consistently applied. A subagent might bypass your organizational rules, or on Bedrock, it might offer models that weren't even served. All of those pathways are properly gated now. We've also got fixes for wildcard permission rules. Web fetch rules for subdomains and file permissions with mid-pattern wildcards now match correctly right at startup. Oh, and if you've ever dealt with that infinite repeating image could not be processed error loop when uploading multiple images, completely gone. Totally resolved. But wait, before we leave bug fixes, I have to interrupt this list for one very specific, very dramatic number. 1 million.
This is probably the biggest sigh of relief in the whole update. Previously, if your session hit that massive 1 million token context limit, but you didn't happen to have the usage credits to continue, the entire session would just hang? Forever? It was a brutal roadblock. But now, it automatically compacts back under the standard limit and seamlessly keeps going. No more frozen workflows, which is just fantastic.
Section 5. Performance boosts. Alongside bug fixes, removing daily friction means making the tool faster and less of a resource hog. Let's see how this builds step by step into a much snappier experience. Step 1. Your CPU is going to thank you. The /goal status chip used to redraw the terminal 5 times a second, even when it was completely idle. That totally unnecessary CPU drain stopped. Step 2. If you have massive, sprawling conversations with your agent, they'll render noticeably faster now because Anthropic removed a layer of redundant message normalization that was happening in the background. And step 3. For web tasks, Claude in Chrome now loads its browser tools in a single batched call. No more painful one-by-one calls per tool. Together, these background speedups make the entire workflow feel incredibly responsive and super light on your system. Section 6. Master Claude Code.
All right, so we've covered the 5-level deep superpowers, the infrastructure upgrades, the bug fixes, and the performance boosts. So I want to leave you with a provocative question. Are you ready to scale your automated workflows? Think about that massive refactoring task or that incredibly complex deployment pipeline you've been putting off. With version 2.1.172, you now have the capability to hand that over to a primary agent, step back, and watch it delegate 5 levels deep to get the job done autonomously. The challenge is on you now to rethink how you structure your projects to actually take advantage of this hierarchy.
If you want to accept that challenge and truly unlock what this tool can do, you've got to visit claudemaster.net. It is the ultimate resource out there, featuring a full plain English guide to the ecosystem, the complete manual, practical how-tos, and the full archive of release notes. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now go out there and start delegating. What massive project will your new AI sub-agents build for you first?